to record a short combo, which is on advanced level. I asked everyone via Instagram what they would like to learn the most from me, and this one is what came up the most. So here are a short few movements linked together, but you can also of course use them separately to train with and just to have fun with. Enjoy! Hello everybody, it's my 33rd birthday today and I'm recording a free tutorial for everybody. I asked via Instagram what you all would like to learn the most, and the thing that most came up was advanced flows. So here are some movements linked together, which you can also of course train separately and then just have a little bit of fun with. So without further ado, let's get into it, let's get moving. So let's start with the first movement, which is going to be a slight kick up with a hip twist. Alright, so let's get into the first movement of the combo. It's a handstand variation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my hips behind the pole. And of course we're going to train this on two sides, but just for the sake of like doing your good side first, find your hips behind the pole and then see if you can lift your inside leg up just a tiny bit to see how your balance is when you're leaning back and when you're leaning forwards, right? So this movement, like going forwards and bringing the leg behind you, is a movement we're going to need to initiate the handstand on the floor. So I'm using a lot of momentum, but if you're not sure about your handstand, like don't hesitate to go into it very slowly, right? So as I'm moving my leg backwards, my inside hand is going to go into the pole, and I prefer a cup, but of course you can also take a regular grip or a twisted grip, right? And then as I'm leaning forward, I'm finding my outside hand a little bit. If you can see it, I'm using it a little bit diagonal, because I know that once I kick up and I bring my hips away from the pole, I'm going to slightly shift forward, and I always want to have like my shoulder, my elbow, and my wrist slightly stacked. So that's what I prefer doing, right? So just for the first time, you can find like this small kick, and then just without changing the leg, okay? So it's going to be kick and switch, right? So in whatever direction possible for you. So let's do that again. So I'm going to bring the leg forward, kick it and find my hands on the pole before I put the other one down. So I slow down the movement as I go. Hop, hop. Now I kick it. I'm going to switch it, but this time when I switch, I'm going to bring my hips just a tiny bit higher, right? So I'm bringing it a tiny bit higher, and then I'm switching it to come down, right? So now the more I twist my hip from one side to the other side, the more flowy and like circly it's going to look. So what I want to do is I want to kick. I'm going to bring my inside hands, kicking over the head, stacking the hips. And then halfway I'm switching, I'm turning the hip down and finding my inside leg onto the floor. So you can think about it like a big circle movement, right? So kicking, arching, and then coming over to the side. Now the more you can bring your leg over away from the pole, like the nicer the movement is going to look. And also like the arms have kind of this momentum with them as I go forward. Like I like to bring them like circle-wise to mimic the movement of the legs. So I go arms, right? Or you can go wee, arms and legs, right? Now from here for the combo, as I come down, I'm going to bring my outside leg towards my chest. And I'm going to bring my outside leg around the spine a little bit to create more space in between me and the pole. And then I extend the leg forwards, right? And then from here, I'm going to find my inside hand onto the floor. My outside hand reaches up, and I'm going to open my chest first before I find my arm, alright? Why I open my chest first? Because otherwise my arm's going to need some more flexibility than I have now to reach up. So I like to open the chest, look up to the ceiling, and then bring my leg behind me to make this kind of fake bridge. So it's circling behind me, pushing the hips up to the ceiling. And as I push from my lower hand, I'm using a tiny bit of elbow to reach up and to stand up. So let's do everything in a row, right? So I'm going to reach forwards. I'm going to find my arms. I'm going to go around, bring the leg in, and then see if I can directly arch up and come to standing. When I come to standing, what I want to do is I want to continue the circular movement around the pole. So as I reach out and I find my arm to the pole, I'm going to bring my outside leg into a circle and I kind of contract to the sides to bring my hips forwards, right? So as I'm turning, I'm jumping into the front, but always kind of with this hip lifted in a way to make it more stylish, but of course it's an aesthetic moment, right? So imagine that we came up, then pushing, standing up, and then from here I bring the hip in, right? I'm kicking horizontally. It's kind of like this horizontal jump, right? Then, as I continue, from here, I'm going to turn around. Now I pivot with my weight above my foot, and as I keep my body stacked above my foot, I'm going to turn, and find the pole. So now from here, I'm in my twisted grip with my upper arm, and in my lower arm, my preference is always to find my arm either in a cup or with a finger around the pole, but don't hesitate to put it in any position that you personally prefer. For me, that's just my personal preference. Now from here, my leg continues, my outside leg continues to circle towards the pole, but as I reach out and I look up to the ceiling, I'm going to find my lower leg, right? So I'm going to do kick, open, arch, hook, okay? So think about it like a circle towards the pole. And what is happening is that I'm rotating my hip towards the pole, meaning that it's going to be less heavy for me to lift up, versus where my legs would be away from the pole and really heavy, more heavier to lift. And also I'm using the momentum from my kick, right? So I had this kick, and directly as I come down, I'm using the momentum from that spin that I had to directly turn underneath and then climb my shoulder onto the pole. So this is really like an active push, right? This is where I create my momentum. This is my motor. So I'm gonna go in towards the pole, push, arch. Now from here, I'm pulling into my top ankle, and then this guy is turning me down towards the floor. So what it means is that as I'm arching away, the free leg has to initiate the movement to come down. So the more you kick horizontally, the more you're going to spin, obviously. And it is a bit of a difficult moment because the last movement was very horizontally, and then the other one has to make it travel in space, right? So as I go away from the pole, I'm directing the energy to the front. So I go away and then I shoot it in the front. So let's do that again. So we're going to go around and shoulder and up and. Now from here, this is your motor. Imagine that you rotate your hip in the front and then you kick into the front. Hee! So now let's do it again. So we're going to go from the kick. So we're going to go kicking around. Shoo! Then turning, then finding the shoulder. As I look down towards the floor, I'm going to find the push. I'm going to initiate the leg kick. So I'm here, looking up to the ceiling. I'm going to find my second ankle. And as I find my second ankle, my outside leg continues to come down onto the floor. Now from here, just style-wise, I like to slide it up a little bit to create more space between me and the pole. I'm finding my inside leg through and then opening the hip to the side. I'm going to flare it out, find a small distance with my shoulder and come down onto the floor. So what's important in this moment is that as I'm reaching away from the pole, I'm really twisting my hip away. So as soon as you feel the elbow coming down onto the floor, right? As soon as I'm coming in, I'm twisting the hip away, and as I'm opening to the side, I'm finding this distance with my shoulder, right? So that allows me to put my leg a little bit more behind me as I come down to the floor. Now, as I've come down into the side, I'm gonna see from here if I can keep my chest up towards the ceiling and reinitiate the kick from my front leg up towards the ceiling. So I keep pulling in my top arm, I keep pushing on my lower arm. I'm looking up to the ceiling, and as I find my kick, I'm gonna bring my hips up as high as I can. Now, as I'm going, I'm pushing up from my lower hands and then turning down onto the floor to stand out. Yes!